Hello everyone, wow, welcome to a new video. I have a long time to say that. And for today I have something very special. We're going to learn how to draw Bruce Lee step by step. Now I'm here to assure you that you will learn how to draw him, and so here we go to step number 1. Now for step number 1, it's basically just drawing a sketch of the figure of the Bruce Lee you want to draw. It's pretty easy. You can see they're just circles and simple pictures. Now for step 2, you try to add a little more detail to the face. We're going to start with the face, since that is what's most important. Just draw the face shape of Bruce Lee, and that's all you have to do for step number 2. And for step number 3, what you have to do is add a little more detail. You can see a cross line between the face, and that's where you're going to start drawing the nose and start sketching out the eyebrows. And now for the next step, step number 4, that's when you finish drawing the rest of his face. As you can see here, you draw the hair shape and you draw a simple mouth and 2 eyes. They're just simple figures as ovals, as you can see right there. And the head is nothing more than 2 big circles on top of his forehead. And for step number 5, now you added a little more detail to the head. Now you can see I have drawing the pupils of the eyes, and I have added a little more detail to the mouth, and of course his ear. And for the next step, what it's basically going to do is that from the sketch you did at the beginning, for the sketch you did at the beginning, you have to start by doing his body. Now the way I started is just by drawing his t-shirt, and from the t-shirt his muscles. As you can see, it's pretty easy. It's like drawing 2 big circles around, like you can see they're kind of oval right there. And the shirt is basically a square, as lighter in the bottom and bigger on the top. Now for step number 7, what you have to do is, this is the most difficult step, because you have to finish sketching the whole body. But if you take a close look, you will realize that every part of his body are just simple shapes, and every part of it are just circles and squares, as you can see right here. Step number 8 is just finishing up doing the details for his body. Pay close attention to the image and realize how much things you have to do and take from the original sketch in order to complete his body. Now here in step number 8, what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to start by doing the painting or the shading that you have to do. This is the most difficult part. It's the most creative part. As you can see, this is the only part I actually videoed, not even the whole part of it, because it would take too long. But I basically use the skin color pencils, and so I usually figure out where the shadings are gonna go to paint it with some darker colors, darker skin tones, and from the normal skin tone I use a light skin tone just to add in those normal shades. And where we have the highlights, I just try to keep it real. I just try to keep it a little bit light colored, not use too much, not shade it too much, because that's gonna be a problem later on. So as you can see here, I keep in a lot of lights, and also as I keep lights, I try to add the shadings that I need to add. And from your side that you're watching, the right side is the side where you must have the most shades in. As you can see right here, the right side has a lot of shades and the left side has a lot of highlights. And that's exactly what you have to expose here in this drawing. Now I'm starting to paint the hair. Now the hair is actually one of the easiest parts of the drawing. I painted with some black Prismacolor pencil. So from the beginning of the hair, from the first lines, from the contours, I actually painted completely black. And when it came to the shading parts, I actually left some highlights in there. And then with my white Prismacolor pencil, which I'm almost out of it, I'm almost run out. So here now what I'm going to start by doing is that I'm going to start by erasing those left behind parts that I did in the first sketch of the drawing and trying to add some details. And now I'm going to start by painting his eyes. Now his eyes, of course, you can see the eyebrows are done with black Prismacolor pencil. His eyes obviously with black Prismacolor pencil and with some brown Prismacolor pencil, obviously. And I finished by painting the mouth with some pink color pencil and some white color pencil, just to add in those highlights in his mouth. And as you can see right now, I'm starting to paint the neck and the part of his body. And as you can see, this is pretty easy. You know, I did the same technique I used for the face. I'm just trying to add in those nice tones, those real shades and real highlights. Now the thing with colored pencils and skin color pencils is that they really help you out. The Alita skin tone pencils are really great, because with one single color you can actually give in those tones and give in those real sensation to a drawing, so you can actually see it and it looks real and it looks like it's actually like a photograph. I mean, and it's really easy. It's not that hard. That's the difference with Prismacolor colored pencils, that if you're trying to do like skin with some Prismacolor pencils, it's gonna be really hard, because when it comes to Prismacolor colored pencils, Prismacolor Premier, you really have to find in those tones and combine many colors. And when it comes to the skin tones from Lira, it's not really that hard. I basically just use 2 or 3 colors to painting the skin of one person. I basically just choose my colors at the beginning of the drawing and say, you know what, I'm going to use this colors. So for example, in Bruce Lee, I said, okay, I was going to use dark brown just for the shapes of his body, just to do the shapes. I'm not going to paint with dark brown. I'm just going to sketch out the shapes with dark brown. Then I'm going to use some a light red pencil just to add in those shadings, and I'm gonna use some black just to finish with the shadings, and the normal colored pencil just to add in those highlights and to make sure that's gonna be the primary color of his skin. So it's really easy and it's really fun. Now the Prismacolor colored pencils are really helpful too when it comes to drawing skin. Although it's not my primary colors I use, I can also use them for, I don't know, like shadings or highlights, and they really help out. So they're pretty convenient at some points, and they can really help you out. Like for example, right here, as you can see, I'm painting the hand, and I'm really adapting to the Prismacolor colored pencils, the black Prismacolor pencil, just to add in those shades. And then I'm using obviously my Lira skin tone just to finishing up the drawing and to leave in those highlights and make sure that the primary color is still my skin tone color. And here's step number 9. You just have to finish all of that through the rest of the drawing. The other arm, the rest of his hand. The nunchucks are pretty easy to paint. As you can see here, they're just painted with some black Prismacolor pencil, as well as his shorts. The shorts, they're really easy because you only have to paint it with some black Prismacolor pencil and leaving some white spaces. Those white spaces then are going to be crafted with white. You're going to shade them all in, and you'll basically get a real looking shirt and a real looking short. Now for step number 10, as you can see right here, I also added some like a shaded in, like a shadow for the nunchucks in the shirt. That's pretty easy. You can do them with some light Prismacolor black pencil. I added some depth to the room, and you're gonna see that in the final step. Here's the final piece of the drawing. You can see it when I added some depth to it. I added like a room, and in that room I added some barrels, some normal. I added some Chinese words that translate to, I do not fear the man who throws 10,000 different kicks. I fear the man who throws one kick 10,000 times. A famous phrase by Bruce Lee. I actually did it in Chinese characters so it will look cooler. But when it came to the end of the drawing, I think I had a nice looking, even if the background is great looking. Obviously I had to tell the background was done with colored pastels. Pretty easy. The background is easy. The only difficult part is adding that depth, as you can saw in step number 9. And I really hope you liked this. If you did, remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and like the video. I'll see you next time on to another video.